available within the county, but not under the same structure. There are other facilities that provide a specialized firefighting equipment for refineries, and those resources have been requested.
And how would you explain the conditions? I mean, is it dry, humid? For firefighting, not much wind, but there is wind. Could you just describe that?
Well, we're pretty close to the bay, at least as far as the firefighting that you might understand under wildland conditions. It's relatively high humidity. There's relatively cooler air temperatures, and the wind is not blowing that much. In one aspect, in fact, that's actually beneficial. As the column of smoke goes straight up, it's not settling into the low-lying valleys at this point, although we would hold off and just say that there may be chemicals or other reactants that we're still assessing, and that's why environmental health here is they're doing their monitoring. But at least as far as the firefighting conditions, you can see that the vegetation fire is largely extinguished at this point. It's really what's burning down in the tank farm, and you can still see active fire. There's flaming combustion. There's this large column of smoke. There's active fire suppression down at the base of this hill where the tank farm is.
Have you been able to determine what chemicals, have you identified specifically what chemicals are burning and what is neighboring the chemicals that are burning?
That's right on top of the incident commander's list right now. If that information has been provided by the facility here, the incident commander has it. It doesn't mean I don't have it. It doesn't mean that they don't have it.
Is there any truck that might have been caused by the earthquakes earlier today?
I don't know.
George, again, describe what that black smoke indicates. I mean, we know there's obviously some sort of fuel in there.
The black smoke could indicate any number of things. Typically, it means partially burned products of combustion. In this case, as I can see that fire burning up, if there is some kind of flammable or combustible liquid, that creates a very black, oily smoke. It's something that the Bay Area, unfortunately, has seen a couple of times recently. There was a couple incidents in Richmond within the last few years. But what's actually in that column of smoke is being monitored by environmental health at this time.
So we have confirmed that it is one tank had ethanol, the other one was empty. Well, how does ethanol burn, if you will?
Well, if I recall correctly, ethanol produces a blue flame, or maybe not even, you might not even be able to see it, because it burns very close to a very good balance between the oxygen, the fuel, and the heat source. What you're seeing behind you is obviously not a blue flame, it's a black flame. So it could be mixed material, it could be mixed fluids from multiple tanks. There could be manifolds of valves and pipes down there. At this point, it's still actively involved in fire, so that's part of, I'm sure, the number one thing that they're looking at finding out right now.
But from your knowledge, ethanol itself does not burn like that.
Well, I would say ethanol by itself doesn't burn like that. I don't know what's in these tanks, and I don't know what's burning, so I can't say what would produce a smoke like that.
There's some water going, you can see going on to some of the tanks, and what are those?
Those are typically cooling streams that you use to cool down the shells of the tanks to keep the products inside cooler. If the product inside heats up, that could create more volatility, and that could cause pressure differences within the tanks. But there's any number of reasons to keep products cool when you're dealing with a refinery.
Captain, what's your main concern right now?
Contra Costa fire was cleaning 3 tanks, I think you said 2 tanks. Is it 2 tanks exploded, but 3 on fire, or we're not sure?
What the most recent tweet was, that's going to be the most current information. Because as this evolves, I mean, I haven't talked to anybody for 20 minutes.
What's your big concern here?
Right now, our big concern is putting this fire out. We really want to make sure that if there's a leak in one of these tanks or some other source of fuel, that we're addressing the fuel leak that will allow us to start to extinguish the fire. We're also concerned about preserving any potential runoff from getting outside the farm area itself. We're definitely worried about monitoring the environmental conditions and making sure that we provide information to the public about any risks that they may be exposed to as a result of this incident.
Why don't you guys just go in with trucks and put water on it?
Well, that can be very dangerous and not a tactically wise decision, but that's for the incident commander. If they decide to go in there, that's what they'll decide to do.
What can you tell us about
when this truck cooks for a long period of time is that the metal fatigues, whether it's the tank metal or the pipes and all that stuff. Are you concerned about the fact that there may well be contained flammables that will no longer be contained if this metal keeps cooking?
That's always a concern. In an evolving situation, when you're dealing with such a large amount of fire and a very hot fire that's already proven itself to be fairly aggressive in its behavior, I wouldn't say anything is outside the realm of possibility, but it is true to say that metal can lose its strength over sustained exposure to heat.
Extremely dangerous to approach.
It could also be very dangerous for anybody who's going down there to fight a fire, for example, yes.
Any injuries?
Not that we know of, not yet. I haven't heard of any injuries at this time.
George, have there ever been any incidents that you can remember at this facility, and what can you tell us about New Star?
Well, I can't tell you a lot about New Star at this time, and I don't know if they've had any significant incidents. There was a vegetation fire just up Interstate 80, a little bit west of here last summer, but I don't believe it was associated with the refinery's operation. And I'm unaware of any other incidents in the refinery itself.
Are you confident that another tank is not going to explode?
I am not confident of that. I don't know. I know that's on top of the operational priority for this incident. They're doing a lot of what they're doing right now to prevent that from occurring.
You're attacking that hillside pretty aggressively with water drops and so forth. Why is that? Are you concerned about it spreading to other tanks up above?
Well, it could be that. It could be that the vegetation on that side is a little bit thicker. It looks like there's more brush and trees as opposed to the grass that you see on this side, and they may be concerned about fire spreading through the vegetation to the tanks at the top of that hill. But that's a decision made in conjunction between CAL FIRE and the Incident Command.
Are the vegetation fires out?
Vegetation fire, for the most part, is out. I haven't heard any other radio traffic, but I've been talking to you folks for a while. I don't see any active fire burning over there, and I don't see any active fire burning over there, but that doesn't mean the fire is fully out. I can't see all the flames from where I am.
Any update on the freeway opening at all?
None at this time.
I think I asked you this before, but I'll ask you again. What do you recommend that people in this area do this evening once that, you don't have air moving through here, it's not dissipating? What do you suggest that they do when they get home, or should they stay home?
Well, at this point, I would listen to the community warning system notifications if there are any. You can go to our website at cccfpd.org. Maybe information on the website. You can also pay attention to our Twitter. Our Twitter is ConfirePIO. That's at Twitter, at ConfirePIO. And we'll provide regular information as we can. When we have more information, we will provide it.
Hey, George, it looks like the water has not been dropped right onto the black smoke. Where are you dropping it?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
It doesn't look like the water's been dropped right on the black smoke. Where is it being dropped?
I believe, based on where it's being dropped, is that there may be materials that are concerned about being exposed to fire, and they're trying to prevent the fire from spreading up that hill through some heavier vegetation. I can't see where the water's being dropped, and that's a decision made by the incident commander, so I couldn't say.
There was a retardant dropped over it once. Are you thinking of doing it again?
That would be a decision of the incident commander based on the potential effectiveness of putting essentially a bucket of water over a burning pool of petrochemicals. It's probably not an effective method of putting that fire out, but if it works, they're going to try it.
There's an elementary school on the adjacent side of the thing. Has that been evacuated, or are there any evacuations going on?
I have not heard of any evacuations. There are shelter-in-place advisories issued for Crockett and Rodeo.
What's your message to anybody downwind who smells this?
If you smell this smoke and you have respiratory sensitivity, please shelter in place. If you have concerns about the quality of the air that you're breathing, please stay tuned. We will provide more information based on the public safety resources on scene.
Thank you, George.
Can we miss the very beginning so your name, sir?
George Lang, LAI, Captain.
Can you give us an update, like in a half hour? Or?
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll get the real PIO here. Steve Hill should be up here shortly with the full.
Is Steve down there? Is he still down?
He's in the incident command post. All this stuff is coming together so
So
quick.
who's here? Contra Costa Fire,